Let's start from the Bole area where another unknown man has been killed in Bole at the St. Kizito's Primary School with his head and genitals chopped off. According to the assemblyman for Mempeasem electoral area, Abu Hassan, the Bole murder cases is getting out of hand. Already, many residents have self-imposed a curfew. Alban Hassan is appealing to government and the security agency to tighten their investigations and patrol. But meanwhile, we also have him on phone. We have the NP for the Bole area, Mr. Yusuf Suleimana, on the line with us. Thank you very much for joining us. What exactly is happening in Bole with these killings?
Let me say good afternoon to our viewers and to thank you for giving me the opportunity to once again amplify this issue, to draw the attention of this time not just the security, but even the presidency to the insecurity in which the people of Bole live. You'll remember I raised this issue several times on the floor of Parliament, and I requested that the Minister of Interior be called upon to come to Parliament to tell us the kind of measure he's put in place to ensure that we are able to arrest these wicked people who are torturing us day in, day out. This morning, the people of Bole woke up to another sad situation. This time, the killers did not just kill the person, but they beheaded him and also took off some genitals. And that is the sad situation in which we have found ourselves this morning. It's giving us sleepless nights. It's making all of us very, very uncomfortable. As I sit here, I feel like going to Bole this afternoon. But the question I ask myself is, even if I go, what will I do? What will I be able to do? That's the situation in which we have found ourselves. I've received quite a number of calls from citizens of Bole, both home and outside this country. Everybody is concerned.
Your engagement with the Interior Minister, can you brief us? What was the development?
Yeah, so I called the Interior Minister to come to Parliament and brief us. He's here to come. He's here to come and brief us. But I do know that the National Security Minister visited Bole, I think about a week or so ago. And he met with the Boleura and the elders. He gave them the assurance that his men were on the ground and that they were going to bring many more police officers to augment the existing numbers. I'm very sure that they've even sent the policemen, yet the situation is still not being solved. We at the local level propose the concept of what we call community guards, so that we can get some of our men to help patrol in the night. And so at a meeting, a decision was taken that assemblymen should submit names of trusted, committed community members who are willing to offer that kind of service. I cross-checked with the police service in Bole, and they had received the names. And so what they told me was that they were going to do background checks on these individuals before they are allowed to serve as guards, community watch guards. I called the police, and they are telling me that they are almost done with it, and that very soon they will start work. Unfortunately, even before they could start work, this has also happened. Clearly, it tells you that even though we have a number of policemen in Bole Bamboy as we speak, specifically in Bole Township, the situation is still not resolved. And so we want to call on anybody anywhere who has the expertise to help us to do so, because we are living in fears. Bole that we used to know is a different place altogether. And the unfortunate thing is that the nature of the killings, you can't predict because it's not consistent. One time they use a block to hit somebody's head, is dead. They didn't take any part of their body. Another time they've killed another person, they've tried to bury the person. Another time they killed one and moved him from where he was killed to a different place. This time they have killed and they have beheaded the person. So clearly it tells you that we are all confused. And so this is not a time to begin to blame people, but I think that the police need to up their game, especially not the uniformed police, but those who have what it takes in terms of intelligence to be able to unravel this matter.
Right.
But I can assure you that sooner or later, I am going to charge my youth so that we will form this, if you like, night watchdogs groups. And if you mean joining them anytime I'm in Bole, I'll do that.
Right. In the meantime, what's the mood like in Bole?
Yeah, so today, the place is calm. It is calm because as we speak, there are speculations that the person who is murdered is a lunatic who was around. It's not confirmed yet. And that lunatic is not a native of Bole. And so it seems to me, because of that, the tension hasn't gone that high. It is when the person is killed and the person is identified to be a native, that is where sometimes you have the tension. But for me, it doesn't matter whether the person is a native or a stranger. What is happening is unnecessary. What is happening is cruel. What is happening is not acceptable. And all hands must be on deck so that we are able to resolve it. Let's don't forget that today is Bole, tomorrow is Wa, the next time is Accra, and the next time is other places of this country. And so I think that the military, the police, all those who have what it takes to be able to nip this situation into the mouth, do it, and do it fast, so that it doesn't escalate and create more problems for us.
Right. Thank you very much, Yusuf Sulemana. He's the MP for Bole. Moving on, but to another sad story, Barniekrom shooting. One more person has been confirmed dead in a shooting incident that occurred at Barniekrom near Mankraso in the Hafuano South West District on July 1. The shooting involving a fetish priest, Osman Majid, who is currently on the run, has claimed 4 lives, but circumstances leading to the shooting remain unknown. The police have arrested 2 persons described as a person of interest in connection with the shooting incident. My colleague Clinton Yeboah has visited the area, but before we engage Clinton, let's hear from Nana Kwame Konto, he who is the Barniekrom Hene.
Ye mana samso mama waso otua ma police fonti ye kana sam kaka nkusiaga sabi turo kula do odidi boni bari ya ho na odidi akwaniaba o mo so hwe no itinura ye de yenimu hwe se okọ jakobu ekotutu atuo ho nti wo firu ha wo ba na jakobu nso so wo so okelesi bi wo ho na wo so di naki nti awia no abe 2:30 ene yete so wakum sa nipa no me yesa wu at once a o twen ye firi ni fie be pake ekwam na ba ku de hwire na fanta ono so anopa ya ne yete so wu aka ho nan tinura operativo ba ye be ye hu no ene o munya ne nti yesa boy bi titoro ha wo ne dem nti o man ka hwia na jo ene o mu sa ba ye nti o mba ye no boy ne so woni ho o ma ne fie ho wo mu pempono baako ni ehunu ne uniform a ehe ne nora no ene ne card nyina wo no botom ti anajo na no mu de sani pa no so ye dey ekoye nti ade achi ye na me ne komatifu ahia Sɛ no approach po anya nipa no. Nti yɛsɛ yɛn nso yɛkama yɛyɛ announcement me yɛamanfoɔ. Obi ada ne ho so wobɛkɔ wiram kora yɛahwɛ yie. Because yɛtwi okura no na wɔde aka wira. Na wotwira nyɛ yɛ no wobɛpie wo so a. Yɛsɛ wɔsi bɔne kwan.
Now that's Barniekrom Hine, who has been giving an update on what has been happening, as he says the police, are trying to apprehend the suspect, Osman Majid, who is a fetish priest who killed these 4 people. And meanwhile, 2 suspects have been apprehended and are still undergoing investigations. But joining us to bring us up to speed is Love FM's Clinton Yeboah. Clinton, can you give us a detailed account of what really happened?
All right, Emma. So the issue to deal with in this particular incident, the first one, now the new development, the first one has to do with the arrest that has been made. Second, also with the case rising to 4. Let me get to where 1 more person has been confirmed dead. Now, according to accounts given by the people who saw the incident, including the Barniekrom chief, this person received a cut at his cheek and even recovery, medical attention, hospital in Mankranso. But earlier, within 24 hours, he was confirmed dead. That's why the number has shot 4 now. And with the arrest that has made, 2 people are now being headed by the police. The person, a guy called, according to the report from, eyewitnesses, this particular Joshua is someone who is suspected to have been harboring a suspect, Majid. They believe that it's a person who could keep this Majid away from the sight of the police. And that's why he has been arrested by the police. Now, the second person is someone who is currently unidentified but has been picked up by the police for ransacking the room of this fetish priest. According to the reports from the eyewitnesses, this person was ransacking the vicinity and the room of the priest because he wanted to keep valuables of the priest because he assumed that if kept unprotected, people will come and steal them. So he was keeping them safe for the chief priest. That's where. And that's why he has been more linked to him having access to this particular suspect.
But what's the mood in the community now?
The mood is very one, because we have understood from the conversations I have had with how schools have shut down, and I've also seen schools, the number of people attend a particular school, one school, out of 130 students were able to make it. And they even call that school. So you can imagine 2-3 days that schools are being closed, and also enrollment on the very. But for the people who live around the incident happened, they work with care to go about the engagement, especially for families who are in the area. They don't go for, or they go with a very tense mood to having sex double. They are very safe.
What has been your engagement with the police? How do they intend to keep sanity in the community?
So currently, I have not had engagement with the police because, of course, they are not ready to engage with the media. But the other authorities, the media, with the chief himself and the assembly member, satisfied with the works of considering as well as also the responses that comes from police. They call the police. I mean, if there's any responses are very quick, so they deem it that their responses.
Right. Thank you very much, Clinton. Clinton Yeboah is a reporter with our affiliate Love FM. Moving on, President Akufo-Addo says the three arms of government must work hard to consolidate democratic development in Ghana. The president was speaking in a meeting with the Speaker of Parliament, who introduced the inaugural Democracy Cup to him. The president insists Ghanaians must not take for granted the democratic growth Ghana has been witnessing since 1993, when the Fourth Republic was birthed. Kweku Asante has more in the following report.
The Democracy Cup is part of a number of activities lined up by Parliament to commemorate 30 years of parliamentary democracy. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin presented a trophy to President Akufo-Addo and invited him to the game, which will be played at the Accra Sports Stadium. President Akufo-Addo says all arms of government must not relent in championing the democratic development of Ghana.
The sentiments that, Mr. Speaker, you've expressed about the need for us to work together to establish and consolidate democracy in the Ghanaian state are ones that I share without reservation, unqualifiedly. And it's very much within my DNA and in my perspective of things that the executive, which I represent, and you, the head of the legislature, the other arms of government, we work together in the spirit of solidarity to advance the goal of Ghanaian democracy. It is to the credit of all of us as Ghanaians what has happened in these 30 years. That after the turbulence, the initial turbulence in our history that brought us 3 republics in record time, that this 4th republic has proved to be the most enduring and successful of the 4 republics that we have in Ghana. And it is to the credit of our people that they have embraced so loudly and so wholeheartedly democratic governance in our country.
For his part, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin explained the celebration, which includes this football match, is to rally Ghanaians to celebrate 30 years of uninterrupted democratic development.
And this is meant to project the 30 years of the peaceful, stable, and uninterrupted parliamentary democracy, and to call on Ghanaians to share it and protect the achievements in our governance history. The Democracy Cup, Your Excellency, is therefore an initiative of Parliament to commemorate the 30 years of parliamentary democracy in Ghana.
Alban Bagbin also used the occasion to preach peace ahead of the 2024 election.
Objective, definitely, of the Democracy Cup is to leverage sports, particularly football, as a platform to involve our teeming youth in the 30th anniversary celebration and to get them to understand what this whole democracy is about. We want to use the opportunity to preach peace and unity among the youth, particularly as the nation gears towards the election 2024 in December.
The inaugural Democracy Cup will be contested by Ghana's 2 biggest clubs, Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra to Folk, at the Accra Sports Stadium on the 17th of July. Before that, there will be a curtain raiser match between Parliament and former Black Stars players.
Now, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Searchlight newspaper, Kenneth Kwabena AJ Kranche, has filed a writ at the Supreme Court against the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ejabin. The 2024 independent parliamentary candidate is seeking to have the creation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and its powers declared unlawful. This includes the OSP's powers of arrest, detention, freezing and seizure, which he has described as abusive. Mr. Kranche is seeking to place the OSP's prosecutorial powers under the direct control of the Attorney General, similar to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO, Police and National Investigations Bureau. The Special Prosecutor Act, which was used to establish the Office of the Special Prosecutor as a specialized agency to investigate specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offences involving public officers and politically exposed persons in the performance of their functions, as well as persons in the private sector involved in the commission of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offences, prosecute these offences on the authority of the Attorney General and provide for related matters. Moving on, the leadership of aggrieved staff on the National Identification Authority have challenged claims by the governing board of the NIA stating that their actions are a deliberate hate campaign against the authority's Executive Secretary, Professor Kenneth Atefua. Nearly 1,000 NIA staff petitioned the president on July 1, demanding the removal of Professor Atefua, alleging the violations of labor laws, poor governance, and selective recruitment practices. However, the NIA board denied these allegations. Reacting to the development, Divisional Council Chairman of the Aggrieved Workers, Francis Bankfu-Demi, tells Joy News the board defense falls flat.
If the board is now saying that they do not support our petition is baseless and unwarranted, it is neither here nor there. It is neither here nor there. All the issues we have itemized and listed, the unfair labor practices, the absence of conditions of service, the board have also attempted to state that NIA has an existing conditions of service and that they are upgrading it. For how long have they been? For 7 good years, since 2017 to 2024. You have not been able to establish a common document, conditions of service. And you are now telling the Ghanaians that NIA has an existing conditions of service when we claim otherwise. If you go to the said document they are making reference to, the conditions of service document, which is an old document, is very clear. There has been some allowances tabled in there, acting allowances, rent allowances, clothing allowances, transport allowances, and utility allowances. All of these amounts to about some 55 to 70% of allowances. The board has never sanctioned the implementation of these allowances to the staff. Why would they selectively decide to implement the condition of service for only punitive measures? But when it comes to issues of employee remunerations, they decline to implement that part which will enhance or motivate the staff to give out their best. So what are they talking about in this scenario? I do not really want to believe that indeed this document is actually coming from the board. But if it's actually coming from the board, then that must be a serious issue, because the committee's report on this one matters are there for them to study. And if they are now admitting to the public that they actually supervise and sanction that, then it is a serious issue, and civil societies must rise up and know that when the staff of NIA are crying and complaining, there are a series of injustice that is what we are faced with.
Habits formed in childhood can last a lifetime. Unfortunately, once these lifestyle patterns are set, they can be incredibly difficult to change. Educating children about healthy eating helps reduce the exposure to non-communicable diseases, which is the leading cause of death in Ghana. My colleague Emmanuel Jivenu brings you the story of 2 young friends from Taifa St. Dominic Basic School who are discovering the importance of making healthier food choices thanks to hope for future generations.
Obna Frimpong is a pupil's teacher. In his family, hypertension is not just a diagnosis. It is a generational legacy none of them asks for.
Break time, please.
Pupils of Taifa St. Dominic RC Basic School eagerly rush out of their classroom, excited for a brief escape from their studies.
I enjoy today's class.
Sedinam Kalan and her best friend, Gloria Boatima, go to the eateries every break to buy food together.
Going to buy fried rice and maybe some carbonated drink.
Their choice of food is often junk and carbonated drinks. It is a routine they enjoy, but little do they know the potential risks they are exposing themselves to. While these meals are tasty, they could be leading them down a path towards non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and cancer, just to name but a few. Although NCDs are more prevalent in adults, the foundation for these diseases can be laid during childhood through exposure to risk factors such as poor diet. As Sedinam and Gloria head back from the eateries, they stumble upon some volunteers teaching pupils how to prepare simple, healthy meals like salad.
I have my lectures like this, okay? I can just decide to tell them like this for my salad.
Coordinator for the Preventing NCDs Among Ghanaian Children project, Emanuela Kwame, explains the inspiration behind this initiative.
NCDs are the leading cause of about 45% of all deaths in Ghana and 41% of deaths among the youth in Ghana. We need to focus our attention on preventing NCDs. And it is good that we can start with the young ones because people form their habits at very young ages. If we start now, we are assured that they can grow into responsible adults.
Headmistress Christiana Efua Achumboro believes the initiative is transformative. It not only impacts the pupils, but also extends to their families.
We are putting this into the children. They grow up with it. They know what the risks involved in it. As of now, as we are taking them through, they will be selective in whatever they eat. They will know that this one, if I continue to consume it, if I grow up, this is what will happen to me.
Early awareness and prevention can lead to healthier lifestyle choices. Sedinam and Gloria make a resolution.
I am going to put a stop.
A little longer on non-communicable diseases, as Kwabna Frimpong, a pupils teacher, is grappling with the double burden of hypertension and diabetes. His family is no stranger to high blood pressure, a relentless affliction that spans generations, affecting his parents, siblings, and wife. These non-communicable diseases have heaped a heavy financial burden on the Frimpongs, straining their resources and impacting their quality of life. Here are excerpts from our latest Hotline documentary, NCDs, The Silent Epidemic, co-produced by Emmanuel Giveno and Sairam Abla D'Souza.
Kwabna Frimpong is a pupils teacher. In his family, hypertension is not just a diagnosis. It is a generational legacy none of them asks for. His parents, siblings, and even his wife navigates the daily challenges of managing high blood pressure.
Well, with the BP, I know it is more or less a hereditary issue because in my father's line, my mother's line, it's there. As it stands now, I think I'm the fourth born of my parents. And three of us, myself, my younger brother after me, and my sister come after, we are all on BP medication. My wife herself is hypertensive. Hers is due to pregnancy. The pregnancy induced. It was hell when she was carrying that pregnancy. So I think midway the pregnancy, baby got shooting up. At a point, I think even 2 weeks or so before birth, he has to be hospitalized. Then after birth, it has not normalized again, so he was put on BP medication.
Hypertension and diabetes often coexist due to shared risk factors like obesity and an unhealthy lifestyle. Having hypertension or diabetes may increase the risk of developing the other.
With the diabetes, I think it was 3 years ago. That one also, I was having some funny feelings one morning, so I decided to go for checkup. And when I went, my blood sugar level was very high. I think at that time it was 13 point something. A week later when I went, it looks like it was still high. So he told me that we have to start the treatment. So he placed me on medication. And later on too, he directed me to go and see a nutritionist as to the type of food I should be taking into regularizing.
So we say diabetes and then hypertension are like brother and sister. So when somebody has diabetes that is not properly managed or early detected and controlled, it's able to stimulate some systems in the body to the extent that the blood pressures go up. So when you live with diabetes that is not properly managed or controlled, it can lead to high blood pressure. Yes, it can lead to high blood pressure. And again, if the person develops the two that is not well controlled, it can lead to heart diseases and then brain diseases like strokes and the likes.
So for an individual living with high blood pressure or diabetes or obesity or cancer, the impact comes from various areas. Okay, so first of all, the most common thing is with finances. It puts a big dent in the finances of the individual in that they have to go for regular hospital visits. They have to buy medication, and the buying of the medication is about 70 to 75%.
Vice-Chancellor of the Simon Diek-Dong Dangbo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Emmanuel Deribile, has bemoaned the infrastructural deficit at the university, which he said is drawing back the smooth running of the university. Though he commended government for the numerous projects initiated, which has improved teaching and learning at the university, he called for the completion of the remaining abandoned projects. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
It was a familiar story at the Simon Diek-Dong University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, SDDU, and well articulated by a vice-chancellor who has seen it all, starting as one of the pioneer students of the university, then under the canopy of the University for Development Studies to lecturer, rising through the ranks and to his current position. The occasion was the tour of the university by Upper West Regional Minister Stephen Yakubu.
The context is that we have huge infrastructure deficits, but also personnel.
The university was started on borrowed premises of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council and the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs before it was relocated to its permanent site at Bamaho. There was joy and excitement among members of the university community with the hope that it will come with improved infrastructure which will improve teaching and learning at the university. Not much has changed at the university in the last decade. Even the conversion of the Wa campus to an autonomous university status have very little in its infrastructure development. Mind you, it started without seed capital. The only positives are the sea of dotted uncompleted infrastructure projects that have been abandoned by contractors. Government delay in honoring their certificates pave way for the sites to be overtaken by weeds and serves as pen for sheep and goats. Vice-Chancellor Professor Emmanuel Deribile lamented about the delay in the completion of the projects.
I think that we really need support for completion of the projects that are being managed by the Regional Coordinating Council. These include the library, 3 lecture hall complex, and a hostel complex. I'd like to thank the RCC for measures that have been taken, and we have personally engaged, one of the contractors in conversation and several meetings. And I'm pleased to report on behalf of management that the contractor handling the library and the lecture hall complex has shown sufficient, commitment and is working hard. The challenge is the payment of certificates, and we have also asked for copies of those certificates. You will recall the discussion that we had, so that when we are coming to you, we are coming to you with concrete, records, so that you will figure out exactly how to take, or the kind of action to take. The second relates to one of the projects that we think that the contractor hasn't shown sufficient commitment. We have engaged with the consultant on the project, and that is Ken Overseas. I have to mention it here, that we are not pleased with the level level of commitment that he's showing. Whatever the challenges are, we are ready to engage.
Another area is the deployable roles at the university, which in rainy days could fit for a rice muddy pitch. He appealed to the regional minister for them to be fixed.
Our students are complaining. The staff have issues. Several times, staff have to be helped to dig out their vehicles from mud on campus. So we do have an urgent need to extend the infrastructure, the road infrastructure on campus. And we think that for now, if it is not possible this year, if it's possible, we are happy. If it is not possible this year, we want to work out some details and then reach out to your outfit and see if the urban routes and feeder routes can make some provisions for us in the 2025 budget.
There is also the issue of the street lighting system, whose university bears its cost. Professor Deribele pleads for it to be paid from the National Electricity Levy.
I want to appeal for support to have the NETCO, the relevant authorities, delink our street lighting system from our metering system and to hook it to the national street light infrastructure. I think that it's a single intervention that would help this university and give us some little bit of relief when it comes to our finances.
Our Minister Stephen Yakubu commended the management of the university for their dedicated service despite the challenges and urged them to find innovative ways of working to partner the private sector to tackle the infrastructure deficits at the university.
A businessman will come in only when he sees that he's going to recoup his money. You have the land, he has the money. You have the students, ready customers that will pay him. So can you then work out with the rental thing? And then if you guarantee that if within some years you'll be able to recoup his money and probably hand over the building to you, it is something that probably you need to explore.
News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
You're still watching Joy Newsroom with me, Emma Davis. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with more. Welcome. Thanks for staying. In what many described as a win made possible through sheer luck, Ifia Kobi Ampim Girls SHS is returning to the national championship of the NSMQ. The girls narrowly escaped elimination after qualifying as a top runner-up, scoring more than the required points to join 18 winning schools from the Ashanti region. The school and Amaniampong SHS, which also qualified on the day, were caught up in a hot Jama exchange after progressing to the next stage. Emmanuel Bright-Kweko reports from Kumasi.
We are winning life and color. They should look for us as the Cape Coast National Life and Color. I'm a Nyampong.
Come closer. I want to find out what should PC and OAS with watch out for.
Sorry, me table of four. Oh, me table of four. Me table of four. Me a pure Ghanaian. Sir, hey.
We waiting for PC. We are not we waiting for them. But we believe in ourselves. We believe in ourselves.
Great amounts, I want to create the Abua, Obian Private, the whole Obian Private.
And so these are the students from Barniekrom Senior High School, and they have qualified yet again to the national tournament. And in the contest, it was quite an interesting contest, I must say. Not only them are qualifying to the national championship, they have the girls from Efia Kobi Ampim SHS also qualifying to the national stage, and it's excitement. They have qualified by virtue of getting over 40 points, and in a national science and math quiz, if you are able to get some 40 points, you would qualify to the national stage, and that is what these girls from Efia Kobi SHS have done. Last year they were not there, but this time round they are back, and we want to interact with them. Sisters, let me find out from you. How do you feel? You are a contestant. How did it feel on stage? I realized you were hugging your sister.
At the end of the third round, we still had hope in God because He had promised us a win. He told us that we will qualify, so we were still hoping in Him, and by His grace we could answer one riddle and we qualified. We thank God and we say that glory be to His name.
We almost lost hope, like we felt like it's all over. But we saw that when God speaks, it's final. We thank God for bringing us this far. We've worked so hard. A lot of times we've cried. It got to a time we felt like everything is just over. But we are looking up to God.
We prayed, we practiced, and we win! Going to be the first female school to win it.
Yes, we will. Expect on fire. With God, all things are possible. Yeah.
A friendly banter between the two schools. They have actually qualified to the national stage. Barniekrom SHS and also Efia Kobi Ampim SHS. The two schools have qualified to the national championship, but this was just some bits of morale to ginger themselves as they head for the national championship. From here at the KNUST SHS Auditorium, my name is Emmanuel Bransky.
Welcome. Time for business. The country manager of MasterCard Ghana, Bosman Ekufu, has called for awareness campaigns to minimize cybersecurity losses in the digital economy. According to an IBM security report, 95% of cybersecurity breaches occur through human breaches. He says proper infrastructural investments and massive awareness campaigns will reduce risks. He spoke to Joy Business at the MasterCard Fintech Forum.
As the continent makes strides to champion its digital economy, digital payment systems remain a key part of this transformation. It will also be a key driver in facilitating the continent's vision of a seamless trade. In Ghana, the central bank and other key stakeholders continue to implement policies which will create the enabling environment for growth and innovation. The Fintech Forum, organized by MasterCard, also seeks to advance conversations which will drive innovation. Fulasa Femi Lawal, MasterCard's country manager for West Africa, noted that the growth of the sector will facilitate socio-economic growth.
When you take your mind back to the 2008 financial crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic-induced financial challenge, the fintech played a large role, a huge role in ensuring that we bridge the financial services challenge. The gap that was there, the fintech, they bridged it. And so for us at MasterCard, we're happy to leverage that agility for us to grow together and create value for the financial services ecosystem.
On his part, Country Director of MasterCard, Bosman Ekufu Kwapong, called for awareness campaigns to reduce cybersecurity losses in the digital ecosystem.
It's imperative that we all, as players within the industry, do a number of things. One of it is investing in cybersecurity infrastructure that helps us enhance and prevent cybersecurity issues. The second one is really education, right? And when we talk about education, we look at two things. Internal education, how do we educate our staff so that they are abreast with current trends and they also know how to prevent these issues, and then external, which is the public. How do we educate the public? How do we create awareness so that public knows what are the minimum things that they need to do when they are accessing these platforms? The third one is really around understanding how these trends are evolving globally, so that we can learn from what is happening.
The forum brought together regulators and players in the ecosystem to discuss innovations in the digital payment sector.
That's how we end the Joy Newsroom today with me, Emma Davis. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next is the law. Please stay.